Hello and welcome back to our next episode of the Fresh Trees podcast. I'll be your host today, Jeremy,
and your local lore master, Justin.
And that fits because today, on today's episode, we're going deep diving into our first, and we've been waiting for this for a while, for our Star Wars discussion episode.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this is basically the meat of all pop culture discussions, I feel like, at least for us. And Justin more so than me has been wanting to do this for basically from the start of the podcast. So we figured we'd finally squeeze it in this episode. So today we're going to be going over a few topics. We're going to be starting off with Justin's going to talk about a brief of our history / experiences with the Star Wars franchise. He's going to do a short history of Lucasfilm with Disney. We're going to do some film reviews and / opinions. And then at the end, depending on how much time we have, we might do a couple hot takes we have on the Star Wars franchise.
Yes.
So we got lots in store for today. So I'm just going to without further ado, just let Justin go ahead.
Okay, here I go. Yeah, we already said that if I happen to dominate the conversation, that's probably just what's going to happen here
I'm
today.
basically just listening today.
Yep. You can just treat me as the special guest today and Jeremy as the host.
Yes.
So, yes, Star Wars. It's a big part of my life.
For sure.
A huge interest of mine, prevalent in my life in general. I've now seen, 3, 4, 5, 6 movies in the movie theater, first time releases.
Yep.
And if you count the Phantom Menace 3D, that's 7.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my first one was Revenge of the Sith in 2005.
Yeah.
And yours would have been Force Awakens.
My first Star Wars movie to see first time in theaters, was Force Awakens.
Sweet. So, obviously, so this is a very prevalent conversation to have in a pop culture themed podcast. If I wanted to, I could just talk about the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy, about how much I love it.
Yeah.
How much of a cinematic genius George Lucas is.
Really, yeah.
But everybody already knows that.
Everybody already knows.
If we want to have, once again, a prevalent and controversial discussion on a pop culture subject, what better thing than the new sequel trilogy of Star Wars?
Throw a little spice in there.
So, to start it off, we will discuss a little bit short history of how modern Star Wars has come to be what it is today. Once upon a time, back in the year 2012, Disney acquired the company of Lucasfilm, started by George Lucas, which originally produced the Star Wars franchise. Disney bought it for a whopping over $4 billion.
Jeez.
And so, Lucas is loaded now. He has completely unloaded his previous ownership of this company and his beloved franchise.
Yes.
And now, Disney's all like, so we own this now. We might as well make some money off of it. So, they announce they're making a new trilogy of Star Wars movies. Teenage me? Oh yeah! So, I remember November 2014, the first trailer for episode 7 premieres online. I remember the day.
I remember watching the trailer for the first time.
I was coming home from school. Mom had just picked us up from the bus.
Yeah.
I'm in the car. I open up YouTube, and it's there.
It's there.
We watch it, and it is literally the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
Dude, okay, no joke, I remember watching the Force Awakens trailer for the first time, and I mean, even though I hadn't technically seen a Star Wars movie in the theater for my first time yet, on the first release, when you watched the trailer the first time, I think I almost cried. I was like, this...
Oh my gosh.
I think it was just the fact that we were getting a brand new Star Wars movie after so many years, something new, and I also think the score, the music they used in that trailer, literally... Yeah, I think I almost cried during that trailer. It was beautiful.
If it's not for seeing the Falcon or Han and Chewie again, that music
was
tugs
so
at
good,
you so hard. So I loved it. So that came out in 2015. We saw it. A monumental theater experience.
Yeah.
I was through the roof excited.
Yeah. Is that the time that we didn't think you were going to leave the theater?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I was quite possibly shocked in my seat after watching it for the first time.
Yeah.
We went back home. I think we went back to Nana's house. I think I physically and emotionally exerted myself so much I felt sick afterwards.
Yeah, no, okay, literally, so it was me, Justin, our mom and dad, our Nana and Papa, and was Natalie there?
Probably,
Our cousin,
yeah.
she was
She
there
had to
too.
have been.
And so it was all of us, and literally, all of us but Justin, you know, we had obviously sat through all the movie, we had sat through all the credits, the lights were coming on, and the movie theater, like, cleanup crew was coming in to clean the theater for the next showing, and we were like, Justin, we have to go, but he was like the only person still sitting in his seat.
I couldn't
just
handle
like,
it.
Like head to the back of the seat, arms on the wrists, just like in a trance.
I had literally just seen the light. And interesting enough, the first time I saw it, I wasn't even sure if I liked it or not.
Yeah.
I watched it and I was like, I was not prepared for this. I have experienced this next chapter in the saga, and I'm not even sure if I can handle it.
Yeah.
So anyway, fantastic and life-changing experience with that theater. But then back to the Lucasfilm acquisition. Right when they started writing this movie, Lucas had appointed the new head of Lucasfilm, a woman named Kathleen Kennedy.
Ah, yes.
Now, many fanboys cringe when they hear that name nowadays, but she's in charge of all things Star Wars nowadays, so you gotta accept that and, you know, honestly, be grateful for it.
Because we have gotten some good things.
And then she's honestly been with the company since, like, the 80s. She produced Indiana Jones and all of that, so she's been with Lucasfilm for a long time. So she put together a new writing team for the first movie. A man named J.J. Abrams. He did the new Star Trek movies.
Yep.
Fantastic cinematic director. And then he also brought on the writer, whose name is Lawrence Kasdan, who, of all things, wrote The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi of the original trilogy. So, fantastic duo for making this movie.
Of course.
And it was.
Mm-hmm.
But the other problem is, when they acquired the company, they told George, we're going to take the company and we're going to take your script, but you get no creative input. He was like,
Whack.
whatever, just take it, give me the money, I'm over with it. And in the end, they kind of gave him the butt end of the deal, because not only did they not give him any creative control, they scrapped his script and rewrote a new one.
Yeah.
So, way to honor the creator's legacy there. But for the first movie, it still worked out. To start off with kind of our first segment there, which we title Lucasfilm and Under Disney, What They're Doing Wrong versus Right.
Yes.
The number one thing that they did wrong with this new franchise is that when they sat down to write this movie, they didn't write the entire trilogy all at once.
Yeah.
They literally just wrote this as a standalone movie and then didn't hand it off the next two movies to different writers and different directors, not knowing what was going to happen next.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The problem there is George Lucas wrote the original three movies all at once, or at least had an outline.
Yeah.
He was like, we're going to introduce these characters, and then we're going to have, quote unquote, the Empire Strike Back.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have the Jedi return.
Yes.
And liberate the galaxy, in a sense. And he did the same thing with the prequels. He had the same idea. We're going to meet Anakin, and we're going to see his fall to Vader. He planned it all ahead. But with this one, they're like, well, let's not do that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just write one great movie and let the filmmakers worry about it next. Or did not work out.
No.
Did they make decent movies? Somewhat, yes. But that was their greatest downfall, is not writing it all at once, knowing how they want to structure this trilogy, and not just winging it. George did not spend the last 30 years winging it. Okay?
Yeah, no. You don't make something like this and just wing it.
Yeah. So, even though they got some of the best directors, best writers in Hollywood today, there's just nothing that could have saved this creative arc of making this.
Yeah.
So that's definitely what I have to say is what the downfall of this trilogy was.
Yeah, for sure.
But then we were also just talking recently about now that Lucasfilm is owned by Disney, they have a whole catalog of other properties.
Mm-hmm.
They also own the Indiana Jones franchise.
Yes.
Which they're finally getting around to making another one, whether you want it or not.
It's happening.
I mean, Harrison Ford's still excited about it, even though he's in his late 70s.
Yeah. Hey.
But we were also talking, like, if they own this previous content, like, they should be taking advantage of it. Why is it not on Disney Plus?
Yeah, where is all the Indiana Jones movies on Disney Plus? And for those who don't know, there was a Young Indy series
the Young Indy
back in the day
from like the 90s.
Yeah, it was like there was episodes, but each episode was almost like its own movie. It was like an hour or so for an episode. Right.
Yeah, they were like little TV movies. So,
yeah.
You know, what was it? The Legend of the Peacock's Eye?
Yeah, that's the one that we saw. Oh, that one's good.
It's probably our favorite one.
That's probably our favorite one.
That we remember. So yeah, they have 4 movies plus a bunch of miniseries that they could add to their streaming content that they're just not taking advantage of.
And it's not like the franchise isn't big enough. I mean, it's only Indiana Jones.
Yeah, like come on. I don't know. I don't see how they would have any licensing rights problems with that.
Yeah. Because I don't think those movies are streaming anywhere else.
They're not streaming anywhere else.
It's not like they're in some contract with Netflix or some other else that they're bound. But
so if this reaches the executives at Disney or Disney Plus, put the content out, please.
We want it.
I mean, we got it on DVD, but other people.
But who doesn't love to stream it too? Like, come on.
Anyway. That's the other problem they're doing. They're not taking advantage of their full Lucasfilm catalog.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Howard the Duck. Where's the sequel?
Oh my god.
I mean, even though we've never even seen that movie, I heard it was a disaster.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on. That's what's wrong with Lucasfilm running Disney. But they've also done lots of things right. Besides the new trilogy, they've given us plenty of other great content.
For sure.
The current animation, live-action series, and the spin-off films have pretty much all been top-notch.
They've honestly been carrying, like, Star Wars for the longest time.
Because they have the 2 spin-off films of Rogue One and Solo.
Yep.
Great side stories.
I definitely agree.
Rogue One is a great companion piece to A New Hope.
Yes. Rogue One is honestly, it's just such a good movie.
Yeah. And then Han Solo is one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
He gets his own spin-off movie. And the actor Alden Ehrenreich did a fantastic job portraying him.
Yeah. I had no issues.
And it was an all-around fun film for me. I guess we should have prefaced this at the beginning. This is a full spoilers podcast.
Yeah, so if you're if you don't know anything about the Star Wars universe, or you haven't seen some of these live-action TV shows or the movies or anything, basically we're spoiling everything in this podcast, so listen at your own risk.
Yeah. But if you've already seen them or you just don't care, keep going on. Because I mean, who hasn't seen the originals?
Yeah.
Unless you're uncultured or have been living under a rock.
Yeah.
But anyway, spin-off films have been great. The live-action series, Mandalorian, like I've said, is the greatest thing of the last 5 years. I gotta say it.
It's great.
I could do a whole episode about Mando.
On why the Mandalorian is amazing.
And then they brought back the Clone Wars animated series.
And now if you want to hear our extended thoughts on that, check out our animation episode we did a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Season 7 was great. Ended this the show wonderfully. And then next month we also got the Bad Batch.
Yes.
So there's still plenty of other Star Wars content to be glad about in this new era of Disney-produced content.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you don't like the new movies or you're not interested in them, you can check out all this other new stuff.
Yeah. Even if you're not a fan of movies, there's still more Star Wars to enjoy. If not movies.
Yep. So that's what's right and what's wrong in this conglomerate of a Mickey Mouse company. But that's about it. What are we talking about next?
Well, next, we're going to do film reviews and opinions. Now, before we go into this, I probably should have done this earlier, but quick disclaimer, everyone. Again, this podcast does not support the kind of hate or toxic behavior that is expressed through the fandom and the public, and it is purely a friendly discussion and debate, so please enjoy.
Well said. Anyway, so this is probably the meat of the podcast here,
Yeah.
our discussion. Breaking down our thoughts and opinions on these 3 new movies.
Yes.
So again, if you haven't seen them, we're about to lay it all out. But if you want us to just save you approximately 6 or 7 hours
Of movies?
of movie watching,
Well,
we'll just
then-
cover it in the next 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So. We already started talking about The Force Awakens.
Yes.
Let me get my notes here.
Oh, he's got notes.
Since I don't want to dominate the conversation, thoughts on TFA?
Thoughts on TF? Okay, so obviously, as we said, first Star Wars movie in a while. I enjoyed it. I mean, you gotta love characters like Finn and Kylo. Like, come on, no matter what you say, Kylo Ren is a great character.
Mhm.
I love Kylo Ren. He's so good.
Adam Driver is an amazing
Adam
actor.
Driver is just an amazing actor, just by himself. So really great role. I mean, obviously, it was great seeing returning characters. Like Han and Han and
Wookiee.
Han, he had no name now. Sorry, Han and Chewie. Sorry. So and then the introduction of Rey. So I thought it was really good overall.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Like we said, JJ and the writers did an amazing job. I have down. It's for a modern Hollywood movie, it's pretty great.
Yeah.
You have the soundtrack, you have the visual
Soundtrack's
effects,
amazing.
A balanced use of CG versus practical sets.
Yep.
And like we said, great new characters and fantastic use of original characters.
Yeah, and I felt like Force Awakens made really good use of kind of some unknown actors that were really great. Now they've really catapulted them into like bigger stardom.
That's an important part about it. Yeah, like back when the original came out, who's Mark Hamill? Who's Harrison Ford? Like,
yeah, and honestly, I mean they may have been in some smaller stuff, but like,
oh yeah,
before like with Phantom Menace, not Force Awakens. I'm just getting all mixed up. With Force Awakens, before that, nobody really knew who John Boyega was.
Oh, yeah.
Or Daisy Ridley, or I mean, I'm not sure if Adam Driver was in much before that.
He was in smaller stuff.
Okay, but honestly, before that, like, and then after that, they were names known around the entire world. So
yeah,
really,
every boy and girl knows who Finn and Rey is.
Yeah.
Now, so. Yeah. Obviously, great introduction of this new story. They had a great setup, and personally, I mean, I have to say it's my favorite out of the new ones.
I definitely agree. Force Awakens
it's
is
such a pure experience. It's fun. It's got life to it.
Yeah, I feel like it's still got a good amount of the Star Wars vibe.
Yeah,
I feel like it's a strong first movie.
I know. Yeah, like. A lot of people say it could be a rehash of A New Hope, which in a way it inspired ideas from it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You could almost say it's this generation's New Hope.
That's the point.
Yeah.
We are now in the 3rd generation
of Star Wars fans. Yeah.
And they gave a great first movie for new fans and old.
Yeah.
But here's the but.
But
alas, Lucasfilm, like we said, failed to see through that a cohesive story was told going forward.
Yes.
Like I said, the build-up, everything in this movie is so what's going to happen next?
Mm-hmm.
And I think to be honest, they kind of played the writing of TFA kind of safe.
Yeah.
If we're being honest.
Mm-hmm.
Except, I mean, the one biggest spoiler, they took the biggest chance at killing off a main character like Han Solo.
Yeah.
When I first saw that, I literally could not believe my eyes.
Yeah, like not only is he just a big character in the show, but like an original, like long time character.
The original 3.
Like yeah.
So, but when I first saw the movie, I strongly disagreed with it. But
Yeah.
after examining it more, I realized it was a great motivation for Kylo and just
Yeah.
good story writing. And they didn't let the legendary status of this character get in the way of nice storytelling.
Yeah.
Okay, so TFA, wrap it up. Solid film.
Solid film.
I will rewatch it all the time.
Me too.
And then episode 8, where you're on now,
Yes.
titled The Last Jedi.
Last Jedi.
Directed by Mr. Ryan Johnson. Written and directed.
Mm-hmm.
Like we said, he was not part of the creative process in the first one at all. And they just say, let's hire this nice up-and-coming director who's directed a few smaller films.
Yes.
And just let him take his direction. Very controversial choice by Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
And by seeing how this wrapped up, yeah, they either should have had JJ do all 3, or they should have had him and his writing team do the whole.
Yeah. Really,
script.
I mean, in the long run, no matter who they had, they should have just had the same person do all 3 films.
Like, they could have had Spielberg and Lucas come back and direct it.
Yeah.
And it still wouldn't have saved it.
No.
But TLJ, as its acronym is, I would say it's very different from TFA
Definitely.
in many ways, and is probably the most stark contrast to any sequel they've ever had.
Yeah.
This is where the division between the fan base happened.
2018 was definitely a very
it was
dividing year for the Star Wars franchise.
Yeah, it came out December 2017.
Okay, sorry,
But
2017.
then,
all right.
It still got heated after that.
Yeah.
Because they made lots of writing choices and character portrayals people just weren't vibing with.
Yeah.
Now, I'll just say it up front. I'm not a TLJ hater. I can still enjoy the movie.
Yeah. It's not my favorite movie, but I don't like
definitely
absolutely
not
hate
my
it.
favorite, but it's about mid ground for me.
Yeah. I agree.
So I'll start with the parts that are the best.
Okay.
Number one thing I will literally fight anybody over. Luke's character development was not out of character. He was written wonderfully by Ryan.
Yeah.
Anybody who thinks differently can go watch Justice League. A lot of people say that Luke's portrayal of running away from the Resistance, of running away from his problems, was not very Jedi-like.
But that's literally the same thing Yoda did.
That's the same thing that Yoda and Obi-Wan did.
And who taught Luke? Yoda. So,
granted, they were running for their lives.
Yeah.
And Luke is just doing it because he's disappointed in himself.
yeah.
But you think about it. He lost his pupil, which was his nephew, to the dark side.
Yeah.
Had his Jedi Temple and all of his Padawans destroyed and killed.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, the man's going to be devastated.
Luke basically had his own, Order 66 happen.
Yeah. Talk about personal tragedy. So, obviously, he goes off.
Yeah.
So, I think the 2 best characters that were written in this movie were Luke and Kylo Ren.
For sure.
Kylo was cool in the first movie, but he became a convincingly likable villain in the second one.
Yeah. Now, for those who don't know, I'd say at the start of this new trilogy that was happening, a lot of people gave Kylo Ren the nickname of Krylo Ren.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh my gosh, who is this character? He's such a baby. He's so whiny.
Yeah.
But I don't know about, I know me and you basically feel the same, but by the time, Last Jedi and then towards the end, Kylo was just, he was a really, convincing and like you said, likable villain. He wasn't that, he was very different from the first movie.
He really emphasized himself as a powerful villain. He had great motivations.
Yes.
Had a very imposing, I guess he was just a very intimidating character.
Yeah.
And so he was, I gotta say, out of the movie, Ryan's character development and writing was great.
Yeah.
But his plotline storylining was, just basic.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, he does great character treatments. The story itself
Was okay.
is just okay. Because he developed Rey decently as well.
Yeah.
And then A lot of people say it's almost, I don't want to say it was a boring movie, but it was a very uneventful.
I feel like Last Jedi is definitely like a slow burn movie.
It's a slow burn, you know. A lot of people say that there wasn't even a lightsaber battle scene technically.
Yeah, I just yeah.
But I mean, the throne room with the Praetorian guards makes up for it.
Like, how can you look at that and be like, that was not, like, that was so cool?
Yeah, I mean, people still criticize it for its choreography, but
oh, okay, well,
when you're watching it at full frame rate, it's
sorry that I'm not watching this at one FPS, clicking my right arrow key, going frame by frame.
But yeah, the movie really redeems itself with scenes like the throne room duel, Finn versus Phasma.
Yeah,
which still could have been a longer fight, but was still justifying.
Justice was served.
And then, obviously, at the end where Kylo and Luke have their face-off, everybody was like, oh, Luke's going to blow everybody away. He's going to create a force storm and push away all of the First Order walkers, and he's just going to obliterate Kylo.
Yeah.
No. He embraces the Jedi spirit and says, I am not going to fight you, but I'm going to confront you and say, what you're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
And you need to stop.
Yeah.
So, although, yes, I wanted to see Luke go sicko mode.
Yeah.
The way they went with him being as the beacon of peace was a great parallel against Kylo's absolute anger in that moment.
Because they were definitely very two different sides of the spectrum there.
Yeah.
So
overall, TLJ was an acceptable sequel to the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I definitely enjoyed it. Certain aspects were other parts I'm like, gosh, I wish I could forget that happened. But
so we'll say it at least I feel like it didn't live up to what it could have been, but it wasn't the worst thing ever.
Yeah. Because you think it's the middle chapter.
Yeah.
So much stuff can still happen.
It's the middle child.
Yeah, everybody forgets about the middle child.
Sorry, all those middle childs out there.
But yeah, there were some missed opportunities, but also some interesting choices that I can respect that were made.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's all I gotta say about that, because we have a lot to say about the next one.
Yeah.
We're at okay. Check our timestamp here. So, and then to round out this new trilogy was episode 9, what they decided to call The Rise of Skywalker.
Yes.
Now, okay, controversy central right here.
This is,
where do I start?
No, let's just say when the trailer dropped, okay, I remember I was at school, like, when the trailer dropped, and now my teacher was my teacher was a big nerd, big Star Wars fan. So like he literally brought up the on his projector, the whole class watched the Rise of Skywalker trailer. Now, in the moment, pure excitement because now.
I mean, how can you not be?
How can you, especially since you know basically nothing about it, like, how can you not be excited when a new Star Wars movie gets announced?
You just see lightsabers swinging.
You hear music, you see lightsabers, you see fights in space. So, like, I remember watching it, I was so excited. And then, at the end of the trailer, when you hear Palpatine, everyone's like,
woo!
Say what? Palpatine's back?
But we're like, is he really back?
Is he really back? Or is this like, or do they want you to think
Or do they
back?
want you to think that?
So I just remember the trailer was exciting. That's what I remember.
Yeah, I saw it. I was like, wow, there could be hope that they could round this out in a fantastic way. And everybody truly thought so. But with this movie, it is the only Star Wars movie that I can say that I kind of don't like.
Yeah. I feel like they dropped this trailer. Everybody was so excited, and they're like, "Congratulations, you played yourself."
I'm not gonna say that I hate it. I'm not gonna say that it's trash, because it's not. But
just say that
in one word, for me as a hardcore fan, it was underwhelming.
Yeah.
Now, okay, let me look. at what I got to say here.
And I feel like just seeing it one time, like there's so much to take in. Seeing it one time was not enough. I felt like.
Now, I'll be honest. The first time we saw it on opening night, I was feeding into the hype. I was getting all pumped up while we were watching it.
Yeah.
And by the end, I was like, wow, okay, I guess it's over. Wasn't that awesome, guys? And everybody's like, no. And I'm like, what do you mean?
I remember when we went to see it, yeah.
I was going to get mad at you guys. Not you specifically.
Yeah.
But our other friends. I'm like, how'd you guys not like that?
Yeah, because we went with a big group of people to see it.
But with time comes thought.
Yes.
And with thought comes
a change of opinion.
And then I thought, there was lots of story directions that were very questionable, and they could have gone in a different way.
And not only did we have time to think about it, we also went back and saw it.
Mm-hmm.
Was it one more time? We saw it twice.
I think
theaters.
I saw it one more time in theater.
Yeah, so we saw it one more time in theater. So, as anybody knows, you see anything twice, or especially in a theater, you can really focus on the small details, and you don't have to pay so much attention because you already know what's going to happen. So you can kind of get a full grasp on what things are happening at what time.
So yeah, the second time I saw it, I was like, okay, I see it for its shortcomings, but I guess it was still cool, right?
Yeah.
And so, before I get to my final thoughts on it, I want to explain some other points of it that need to be discussed.
Definitely.
Number one problem I have with the movie, Palpatine's return.
Yeah,
It was a cool aspect, but once it was in motion, we're like, how is he alive, and how do they not explain how he came back?
I don't know if this was gonna come up with that, but I just know there's that one line online. I think doesn't post it, and he's like, somehow Palpatine's come back.
I can just imagine the writing room. They're like, how do we explain this? I don't know. Just kind of cover over that aspect.
Yeah. So that's definitely a big flaw there.
Speaking of the writing of this movie, that's where the controversy comes in. So, originally, a few years before the movie was made, Lucasfilm hired a man by the name of Colin Trevorrow. He directed the new Jurassic World movies.
Yes.
And they hired a guy to write it named Derek Connolly, which apparently they work on movies together a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so they wrote this script a few years before the movie was made, and he called it Duel of the Fates. You're like, wow, that sounds cool.
Oh.
and it's the same name as the theme from the Phantom Menace fight.
Yes, probably one of the best Star Wars soundtracks.
I mean, come on, the opera goes hard.
How can you not love Duel of the Fates?
So you're thinking, wow, that just brings it all together.
Yeah.
Episode 1 to Episode 9. And another thing that irks me is that the team said that this movie is going to unite all three trilogies.
Yeah. It's going to unite the fans.
And I don't see how they
no, if
made sense of that.
They disunited.
They disunited. But for whatever convoluted reason, right, less than a year before production started, they fired Trevorrow from directing duties. I don't know why. It's either A, they didn't like the script and they wanted to overhaul the team.
Yeah.
I think right before that, he had put out another small movie of his and it didn't perform very well.
Oh, really? It's a small movie.
So they're like, the critics say that this movie kind of sucked, so we don't want you working on Star Wars.
Oh, my goodness.
So, major injustice on the side of this poor director.
Yeah.
I am looking forward. He is doing the final Jurassic World movie, so it's sounding pretty cool.
Yeah, man, justice for my man.
Yeah. So I really would have liked to have seen his vision. There was leaks of the script online. I have not read it, but more on that later. I will talk about that. So then, going forward, they're like, well, I guess we better pull a failsafe and bring J.J. Abrams back in again.
Yeah.
And then, which is fine. He's a good director. But then they brought in a director. His name is Chris Terrio. And I'm sorry, this dude killed it. And they should have looked at his resume and said, no thanks, bud.
Get out.
was the screenwriter for Batman v Superman and the theatrical Justice League.
Oh
so
my goodness, that's enough right there.
Talk about a red flag.
Lily, you say the words justice, you already know Lead's coming after it.
So yeah, which I don't understand because I also looked on his IMDb page.
Yeah.
Years before writing those two movies, he wrote an Oscar-winning script.
Really?
With Ben Affleck.
How do you go from like peak Oscar winning, and you just go like literally plummet straight down and make the movie like Justice League, and then you're like, yeah, I think I should definitely make a Star Wars movie.
Yeah. Then again, it was a very different type of movie.
Yeah.
But once they saw that he was a good writer, they're like, put him in on blockbusters.
See, now, so you said this movie that he got an Oscar from was from a long time ago, right?
Like 10 years ago.
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, they're like, oh, he's won an Oscar in his life. Let's get him in here, dude.
Yeah, no. But anyway, because when it comes to writers, maintaining a thought process of continuity is important.
Yes.
The way that they wrote the Captain America and Avengers films, even though it was different directors, it was all the same writers, actually.
Yeah.
It was, everybody knows the Russos and knows all the other guys who have worked on the movies, but what is their names? It's Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely.
Oh, okay.
Who you always see their names in the credits.
Yeah.
They're responsible for your favorite Avengers films.
Exactly.
So why couldn't they have gotten people like them to write this entire trilogy?
Yeah.
Anyway, so these JJ and Chris Terrio make this movie, and I also read Anthony Daniels' biography.
Yeah.
He plays C-3PO, and he kind of like was unfiltered about his entire 40 years of working on this saga.
Yeah.
And he said what he had to say about episode 9 was very appalling, because he'd say every day he'd walk on set and they would have a different script for him every day.
Really?
They were doing rewrites every single day. They're like, so what do we want to happen on set today? Let's make this happen.
Let's have a group powwow and we'll figure it out.
So guys, how do you want to finish this climactic saga of 40 years?
Your thinking caps on. Let's brainstorm.
So obviously the actors were disgruntled about the way this film was handled. So now that we're done with roasting Chris Terrio, what else I have to say about this movie is that all in all, besides the disappointing storyline, it's actually a really cool movie. It still has fantastic action. Visuals are still stunning.
Yeah.
The entire time I was watching it, it was edge of your seat storytelling.
Yeah.
That storyline did not stop the whole 2.5 hours.
No.
And I was like, this is great. It's just keep going and going, but it went a little too far.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to writing, Kylo was still a good character. Rey was still fine. I would say that John Boyega's Finn was the biggest missed opportunity in this franchise.
Yeah, I think he's such a good actor, and they really just kind of dropped the ball on him.
They
for the
really
last movie.
sidelined his character.
Yeah.
Because he was probably one of the most interesting character developments in TFA.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, it's a stormtrooper who
defected?
Who defected? And now he's with the Resistance? Oh, that's compelling.
Yeah.
And then for the next 2 movies, he just runs errands.
Yeah.
For the Resistance.
They're just like, oh.
And just screams Rey's name the entire time.
They're like, oh yeah, go to Cantabite. Go to this planet. Go to.
What did he even do in Rise of Skywalker?
I really don't even know.
He was just there.
Oh, he was. Yeah, I don't even know.
Yeah. So, really dropped the ball on his character. And even though they introduced some new characters, they still didn't do anything.
Yeah.
The Zori Bliss character, she was cool.
But I mean,
she had one important part where they met on that planet.
Yeah.
And then that girl Janna, who rode on the space horses, she did nothing.
Yeah. She was just like, you can't be on my planet. Never mind. All right, you guys are cool.
Yeah. So when you look up the word missed opportunity, you see all of the stuff happening in this movie.
Yeah.
But yeah. But when it comes to controversial writing and plot points, I might get some flack for this. Even though I don't think it was the best route to take, I was very okay with the way they took Rey's character. Although I was very surprised, spoiler alert, that they made her a descendant of Palpatine. I was like, that's weird, but kind of cool.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how I felt about that. I was surprised, but I wasn't like, I don't know. I wasn't wowed, but I was surprised.
I mean, seeing her shoot Force lightning was cool.
Yeah.
So, and then you find out like about her parentage a little bit. You're like, well, that's it. Okay. But then the other thing that happens at the very last ending of the movie, I'm also completely okay with the Rey Skywalker situation.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
When she's like, oh, I have no last name, so I will carry the Skywalker legacy by taking on that name. I think that's a great way to bring honor to Luke and Leia and Ben Solo and Anakin and everybody.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about that movie. Plenty more stuff to say about it, but I've probably already gone over my 10 minutes of explaining this movie.
But now I will say one thing that I know we both agree on that we both like about Rise of Skywalker is Kylo Ren's character development.
Woo! If anything, his character development was almost flawless.
Yeah.
Until the Reylo kiss.
Okay. Yeah. We do not support that here.
But yeah. And I thought his redeeming back to Ben Solo was actually quite well done.
Yeah.
Although I originally wanted him to die a painful death.
Yeah.
I think he was redeemed well.
Yeah, but see, and then when he was redeemed, I was like, wait, I want more Ben.
Yeah.
Wait, don't do this.
Yeah. And then one final comment on it is, even though the ending was pretty badly written, all the coolest moments happen at the end. Rey gets her new lightsaber.
Yeah.
And they all come back together. It is pretty wholesome when it's like, oh, we won, and they're hugging.
Yeah.
But another thing on Finn, I really would have liked to have seen him become a Jedi.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
It would have been... They feel like there can only be one main Jedi protagonist.
Like, no, there can be more.
Like, Rey and Finn can just be Jedi buddies. Come on.
They're like, after Order 66, no, there can only be one. The rule of one.
Yes. So, one last comment to wrap up this movie. I think I saw this online, and I agreed with it. The statement of how they felt about The Rise of Skywalker. All in all, the movie itself is actually a very good, compelling movie.
Yeah.
But, so... You could say this all in all was a good movie, but it was not a good Star Wars movie.
Yeah, you could say that, yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, if this is just
a sci-fi action movie...
It would actually be amazing.
Yeah.
But it was just not fulfilling for a Star Wars story.
But considering it has, like, 40 years of storytelling to conclude on.
Yeah. So that's how I feel about that.
Yeah.
And so another aspect that relates to Rise of Skywalker is... I found online, interestingly enough, there is a fan who adapted the leaked script into a comic so that, everybody could have a visual form of how the movie could have been.
Yeah.
And if you want to check him out, I believe online, his name's Andy Weingarner. You can look him up on Twitter or check out his website where he lists the comic for free so people can read it.
Yeah.
So he took this screenplay that was leaked online. He adapted it into a comic, a 7-issue series. And granted, I have not read the full script. I've seen the concept art.
Yeah, neither have I.
I've seen the concept art and I've seen some of the high points from the script. But reading this comic really left my jaw dropped.
Yeah.
I was like, how did they look at the script and not think this was a good idea?
Yeah.
Then again, it's not perfect. It has its shortcomings. But I could definitely forgive it for a better structured and fulfilling story.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spoil what's in the comic if you don't know anything about it,
Mm-hmm.
because if you're interested, you should either check out the script or the comic and read it yourselves. It's really good.
Yeah. I haven't read it, but Justin told me lots of good things about it.
Yeah. I was reading it last week. I don't think he's completed it yet because I was on the 7th issue and it kind of broke off before it ended.
I remember you telling me, yeah.
So I don't know completely how it ends,
Yeah.
but I have an idea, and I'm like, this is what I want.
Yeah. You're like, this is too much to ask for.
I'm a simple man. But some aspects. The Knights of Ren do awesome stuff.
Yeah. Definitely lacking.
Yeah. Rey and Poe are pretty much the same characters.
Yeah.
Finn is utilized greatly. He is such an empowering character
Mm-hmm.
for the Resistance. I just gotta say, one of my favorite parts, I never thought they were gonna do this. Finn rallied the Stormtrooper uprising.
Yo, that's sick.
He was able to turn a squad of Stormtroopers against the First Order.
Oh, that's so cool.
Because, yeah, I just gotta say it. He meets a Stormtrooper that he used to know. He takes off his helmet. He's like, bro, we gotta do this together.
We gotta do this together. That's sick.
I love it so much. But they had some great story points in there. It's interesting enough. I can see the points that they took from that script and
Mhm.
put into The Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, that's kind of similar, but just really dumbed down.
Yeah. Just more
In
dull.
a less cool way.
Yeah.
So, yep. Shout out to that guy who wrote that comic. Check it out. I thoroughly enjoyed reading that.
All right. So for our final segment of today's podcast, we're gonna be reviewing some hot takes that Justin found online. And for those of you who don't know what a hot take is, it's basically a controversial statement that somebody can give, and we'll talk about if we agree or disagree with them.
Right.
So for the first one it is that this hot take was put out that The Rise of Skywalker is better than Return of the Jedi, and the results were 77 people said they disagreed. Thankfully,
Yeah.
23 people said they agreed.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, what is wrong with this one?
Once again, if you say that my favorite movie, Return of the Jedi, is better than my least favorite movie, I will physically fight you.
don't catch Justin on the street, otherwise he'll take you in the alley. All right, because those 22%. Some people everybody makes mistakes in life, but they're making every mistake right here, okay?
Yeah. I'm not saying you can't like the movie, because you can. There's great moments, but
But what you're doing is just criminal.
what you're doing is just wrong. I'm sorry. The Return of the Jedi is my favorite movie, and that's that.
Yeah. Now, for most of these hot takes, Justin's already seen them. He's the one that found them.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing them for the first time as everybody else, so you can get my reaction too.
Yeah, feel free to give your reaction.
Yeah.
to it.
All right. So next one. All right. So next, okay, we have the Donald Glover Lando from the Solo movie is better than Billy D. Williams Lando, and it's 63% disagree, 37% agree.
Yeah. This is a hard one to say, but I think what I would say, it's split down the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Glover is the perfect young Lando. Billy D is the perfect old Lando.
Yeah, because I agree, because I think they both played their respective roles, like you said, perfectly. Like, obviously, there's an age difference there, but yeah, like, each one is playing their own side of Lando, and it's not like they're playing the same age Lando trying to just recast. They're playing, a Lando that had, he's been through a lot, had a lot of experience, and it's like, new Lando,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Casting in that movie across the board is just great for all those characters.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
all right, next we have The Clone Wars will always be better than The Mandalorian. 67% said agree, and 33% said disagree.
now, I'll just say I agree with this.
I will agree, because even though Mandalorian is an amazing show, we have 7 seasons of Clone Wars, which is honestly it's just peak storytelling and like writing. It's so good.
Yeah, because as amazing as it is seeing live action Mandalorians, the show wouldn't be what it is without
the Clone Wars.
The Clone Wars.
Yeah.
So,
and like we said earlier in our animation episode, like the Clone Wars is probably some of the best Star Wars content within the past several years. So how can you not love it? And especially since we grew up watching it every week. So
I mean, we're prequel babies.
Yeah.
So
we're the middle era
Yeah.
fans. So obviously this was like perfect for us.
Yeah. And especially if you're someone who's not into the prequels, it really expands on those ideas.
Yeah.
So
it's like all the best aspects of Star Wars. So next we have, except for the space battle and throne room emperor scene, Return of the Jedi is an absolute snore fest.
Oh my gosh.
72% disagree and 28% agree. What's with all the Return of the Jedi hate? Like,
okay,
what is this?
This Jedi slander has to stop.
we do not accept Return of the Jedi slander here. If you see it, we're throwing you out the back door. Okay?
Again, yeah, totally disagree. It's an amazing movie, and if you don't like Ewoks,
then what kind of sick, twisted freak are you?
Were you like forced to watch Care Bears every day when you were a kid?
Yeah, you have some sort of internal trauma. All right, he's just trying to eat a granola bar.
Come on, look, it's so cute.
It's so cute. All right, next. Oh, now this one is in terms of one of the Star Wars video games. It says Star Killer should be canon, but not as overpowered as the video games. Maybe a future story for him.
Yes.
80% agree, 20% disagree.
What do you think?
Honestly, if you haven't heard of them, there's these games called Force Unleashed. There's 2 of them, and it's about this main character named Garen Malik, or Star Killer. And honestly, at least the first one is an amazing game. You just played it recently. I love him as a character. Now, yes, in the game he's a little overpowered because he's in the game he's Darth Vader's apprentice, and I mean, Darth Vader's already like the CEO of Star Wars villains, so I mean it only makes sense that he would be powerful. So I definitely would like to see more of him. Yeah, but maybe not as just like, let me just electrocute and cut everything.
Yeah.
But still, I really like him as a character, so I think I'd be down for more.
Yeah, considering, like I said, I just played the game and I experienced the story for the first time.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting storyline, but I don't think it needs to be canon. It's just a cool story that you can appreciate.
Okay. Yeah. See, people, we're keeping it civil with opposing opinions here. All right. All right. Next, Kylo Ren is more complex and compelling villain than Vader in the original trilogy. 61% disagree, 39% agree. I mean, Vader is the greatest villain, not only in this movie, but pretty much of all time. Yeah, like, even if you have never seen Star Wars, everybody knows who Darth Vader is.
Right.
Because an iconic look, he has iconic breathing.
Yes.
What other character ever has iconic breathing? Like, come on. So, yeah.
Kylo still holds his own as a great villain.
Yeah.
And if you at least want to say that they're level with each other, that's okay. But I'm not going to say that Kylo's better.
Yeah, I love Kylo Ren. Like I said, he's probably my favorite character out of the new trilogy. But yeah, you can't say he's top over Darth Vader. Yeah. Like, come on. All right, next we have Rogue One is the best Star Wars Disney movie. 70% agree, 29% disagree.
I mean, honestly, yes.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, they knew what they were doing with Rogue One.
Yeah.
Rogue One, like I said earlier, Rogue One's just a great movie.
Like, it's not the crowd pleasing movie for everybody like The Force Awakens is.
Yeah.
But
I mean, yeah. It's not like, I feel like it wasn't as like the huge blockbuster level as like the main 3 are. But
as a fan, it's really great.
Yeah. All right, next. I think the criminal underworld in Star Wars should get a little bit more love. 94% agree, 6% disagree. I wholeheartedly agree.
Yes.
The Coruscant, kind of like the dark side of Coruscant,
Mhm.
you know, like under the city. Yeah, that's
The 1313.
don't even get me started. Oh my gosh, 1313 is a trigger word on this podcast.
Yeah, that's what I've said is probably my number one most wanted
Star Wars project.
Star Wars project.
Yeah. Considering it was like already in progress.
Like a Crimson Dawn, Maul and Kira type thing.
Ooh, it'd be so good.
Even though they're got a great slate of upcoming content, I would still almost want that to be my number one.
I would take this over some of the content that they've already teased.
Yes, yeah.
For sure. All right. Finn and Rey should have both become Jedi in the sequels, not just one or the other. 86% agree, 14% disagree.
That's what we're saying.
That's what we're saying here, people. These are the facts, okay?
Finn needed to fulfill his destiny as a Jedi, and that's that.
Finn, come on. We need some more Finn love. Come on. We support Finn on this podcast, all right? And if not, also, come on. John Boyega is just a cool dude.
Come on. He's such a cool guy.
And that's all for our hot takes for today.
Nice. Okay.
So, good way to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Any closing remarks, Justin?
Well, I feel like I've had some closure about my feelings about this trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad to express it. Maybe you'll feel the same. So thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
All right. Now that Justin has blown off all of his bound up Star Wars fandom steam, that'll conclude today's episode of the podcast. We thank you again for coming back and listening once again. We'll be back with obviously another new episode next week. Remember to check us out if you listen on Spotify, maybe on YouTube or vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
And also remember to check out our Instagram, our Twitter, and our TikTok. We actually just posted our first TikTok video the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, it's Fresh Squeeze Pod for all of those.
Yes.
So I wrap up today's episode, and we'll see you guys next week. See ya.
May the Force be with you.